What's up, guys? This is Rise, and welcome to another video where today we're going to be going through all of the Season 15 Pokemon Go Battle League Hidden Gems update, where over 50 Pokemon have either gotten different moves, there have been moves that have changes, and it's going to significantly affect the Go Battle League. You might be wondering, what do I run? What's good anymore? What's no longer good? We're going to go through it all briefly, try to make it a little bit entertaining, and get you everything you need to know for the upcoming Go Battle League season. I'm excited. So without further ado, let's get started. And we're going to start just by briefly going over the Hidden Gems update, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have already heard about it or read through it yourselves. So in terms of the Go Battle League season, you can go through yourself to take a look at all the different dates, the different leagues, and June 1st through June 8th, Great League, Summer Cup, Great League. So you got like all your different metas here. Let's see if we like stumble across any new looking metas. Retro Cup, Great League Edition sounds kind of cool. You've also got some like triple Stardust opportunities, so make sure to take advantage of those. I know I am always low on Stardust, so I try and take advantage of opportunities where you can grind it out. And the season's going to be going all the way through September 1st. So the season with its updates will be the meta sort of for the remaining Play Pokemon regionals as well as the World Championships. Now, we've got a Go Battle weekend. This looks pretty cool. 4 times Stardust from Win Rewards. I skipped over this myself. This does not include the end of set rewards and will not stack with the 3 times Stardust bonus from Master League. Whoa, 4 times Stardust is pretty cool. Yeah, 20 sets. That's normal for Go Battle days. What else we got going on? They're promoting the World Championship, which is pretty cool. Your boy will be there in Yokohama. I'm excited. And it's coming up really quick, man. Like, in my head, I feel like I was thinking it was like so far away. It's in 2 months. I leave in 2 months to go to Japan, which is pretty wild. Friday, August 11th to Tuesday, August 15th. Also, by the way, one thing to mention is I believe the World Championship Day 2 will be on August 12th. Unless that's Day 1. And Friday's like registration day. Okay, so yeah, it might actually be like the final might be on the Sunday, August 13th, but August 12th is my birthday. So, I mean, I feel like they kind of have to let me win, right? It's only right. It's my birthday. I'm just kidding. Oops, wrong scene. Okay. So they're going to promote all 3 leagues. And I like this, that during the World Championships, and they're going to have a lot of eyeballs, a lot of people spectating. People are going to be, they're going to have access to all 3 leagues. So some people might prefer the Great League and not have Master League resources. Some people might be newer to PvP, but they're huge grinders. So they have all the Master League Pokemon, and they are better off doing that. So I think that's a really good idea from them. Some of the rank up encounters: Excadrill, Squovit, Axu Shiny, which was also just announced for Community Day, Gibble, Goomy, and of course Pikachu Libre. I have, I think, 13 Pika Libres now, yet to get a shiny. Hopefully I get one eventually. Come on, Pika Libre. Be my lucky 15 here. Some more encounters. Whoop-de-doo. Wooloo. And let's see. This is going to be the Legend Pose. Kind of like a cowboy checking the time. I guess it's come with the outfit. I would assume so. Ace rank, you'll clay style hat, shoes, pants, shirt. Okay, yes, you probably get these clothes. Dude, I've been wearing, oh, well, I've got the regional shirt. I would definitely wear this, though. I would take off the regional shirt, wear this, maybe put on the shirt again. Different cups. Yeah, let's get some explanations. Summer Cup, we've done that already. Element Cup. Single Type Cup, also known in grassroots tournaments as a mono type cup. Pokemon that only have one typing. So they have Cresselia and DD banned, which is interesting. But Pokemon that are have dual typings, like Swampert, they give as an example, are not eligible. So Pokemon like Umbreon, mono dark type, right? Registeel, mono steel. I could see like Shadow Hypno potentially being viable in this cup. Vigoroth will probably be pretty good, especially with no DD. Vigoroth, I bet, is going to be super safe. Pure Ghost, Cofagrigus, I'm sure will be pretty good. So make sure you build those Pokemon, or at least save them. Don't have to build them now, but save them if you have them. Retro Cup. Fossil... Wait, what is Retro Cup? Yeah, it's kind of like a typing meta. Fossil Cup. Another like typing meta. Greatly Remix looks fun. Ban all the most popular mons from the season. Fantasy Cup. Ultra. Yeah, another typing. Catch Cup. Pokemon caught during the season. And no mythical Pokemon. And then here we get to some of the more spicy stuff. So a new charge move has been added in Liquidation. This is being rolled out to a ton of different Pokemon. And it's decent. It's a Crunch clone, I believe. But in water typing. So 70 power, chance to lower your opponent's defense. It's like Crunch. It's a solid water move. That's not going to be overpowered or anything like that, but it'll give some more Pokemon some more play. Leafage is a clone of Bullet Punch, so if you run Metagross and Master League, you know its fast move is Bullet Punch, and Leafage is the same move as Bullet Punch, but in grass form, so it's okay fast move, nothing too crazy. It's kind of like a worse counter, or like a worse poison jab. Attack changes. This one is pretty big. Okay, we'll roll through these pretty quickly and then get into the PVpoke rankings to see how this affects everything, but Icicle Spear, we all remember, was nerfed. It required 5 more energy. It used to be a 35 energy move. Now it's a 40 energy move, which made Walrein significantly worse. Now it's getting a power buff, which kind of evens it out. It's not going back to as spammy and as good as Walrein used to be, but it's getting a damage buff, which is going to make Walrein stronger. Poison Fang also getting a damage buff, but probably not as big a deal as Icicle Spear, because like it still takes the same length now to get to Poison Fang, and it's still not doing like a ton of damage, so I don't think this really impacts as much as Icicle Spear. Rollout getting a damage buff, so this is going to be helpful for Pokemon like Dunsparce and Miltank. I don't think Alolan Golem's going to benefit too much. It's still eh. And then Mud Bomb. This is pretty big, and there's another reason why this is big we'll get to later, but I think the Pokemon most people think of with Mud Bomb is Whiscash and then maybe Toxicroak. Gonna do a little bit more damage, have some increased play, and then here might be the biggest change is Seed Bomb. So any Trevenant players, I myself like to use Trevenant in the Go Battle League on many of my teams. Seed Bomb now is going to cost 40 energy. Oh, wait, no, 45 energy instead of 40 energy. What does that mean, Rise? That means instead of it being 5 Shadow Claws every time to Seed Bomb, it's now going to be 665. It's going to be the same pacing as like Venusaur to Frenzy Plant, Frostlass to Avalanche. It's going to be 665 instead of always 5. So Trevenant's going to be a little bit slower, and that's going to make it not as convincing in certain matchups, especially Walrein, because one major matchup like has always been Trev versus Walrein. Excuse me. Like, you can safe swap your Trev, right? If you're met by a Walrein, you're going to outpace the Walrein to every move. Not anymore. If the Walrein's quick enough, Walrein is going to get to its moves quicker than Trevenant. So this is really going to... I still think Trevenant's going to be good, but it's not going to be nearly as good. It goes from, like, the best grass type, clearly, to is it the best grass type? I don't know. And now here we get into the juicy stuff. This one everyone's been talking about. Alolan Sandslash will now be able to learn the Charge Attack Drill Run. This is going to be really useful. We always joke about it on the channel. We joke about how bad of a move Bulldoze is. So Sandslash typically running Shadow Claw, great fast move. Ice Punch, okay charge move. And then Bulldoze, terrible charge move. It's basically getting a big upgrade from Bulldoze. Instead of being a 60 energy move, it's a 45 energy move. Gonna get there a lot quicker. It's gonna be 665 once again. And just a much more efficient move than Bulldoze, which is gonna help it against those steel types like Registeel, Galarian Stunfisk, and so on. Clefable will now earn the fast attack Fairy Wind. Can I zoom in even further for you guys? Actually, I don't want to zoom in too fast. Well, no, I think that's good. I got my monitor. Maybe make my head a little smaller. Big head. Clefable will now learn Fairy Wind. This is going to give Clefable a lot more play, especially in the Ultra League, as we'll talk about later. Clefable, a Charmer, now has access to Fairy Wind, going to be able to have a more energy generation fast move instead of only focusing on fast move damage. Wigglytuff will now earn Disarming Voice. It takes Wigglytuff a long time to get to its move since it only has access to Charm as a viable fast move. Now with Disarming Voice, going to be able to get there a lot quicker than Ice Beam or Play Rough. Golduck will now learn Liquidation. I don't think this will be too much of a big deal. Golduck usually runs like Confusion or Water Gun. It's not the greatest Pokemon. This one, however, is big. Dugong learning Drill Run. Dugong with Ice Shard, Icy Wind is really solid, but it doesn't have great coverage, usually running Water Pulse as the third move. And against other water or ice types, you can only dish out resisted damage. Now, with Drill Run, you can hit back for neutral damage. I believe this helps it flip the Azumarill matchup. It also gives it more play against steel types, electric types. Really big addition here. Dugong getting Drill Run. Also, we'll learn Liquidation, but I don't think you're typically going to want to run Liquidation on Dugong. Cloyster will now learn Liquidation. Okay, Vaporeon Liquidation. Some like, water types. Togetic Fairy Wind, that's fine. Togetic, here's the thing with giving Togetic Fairy Wind is it's helpful because right now it has to run Hidden Power or Extra Sensory, which are both terrible fast moves. But the thing is, Fairy Wind is going to help Pokemon that have access to great charge moves, and Togetic doesn't really have that. It usually runs Ancient Power, Dazzling Gleam, which aren't the best charge moves. So I don't think this is really going to make Togetic too viable, except maybe in like off-meta formats. Quagsire. The Quag. He's one of the most viewed videos on the channel, by the way. When we swept an unsuspecting opponent on like one of the early days of the season with a Quagsire. But he will now learn the charge attack Mud Bomb, and that is going to be massive. Quagsire now will probably have two viable movesets as well. Normally running Stone Edge, Earthquake. Some people may opt to keep that. Some people might opt for Mud Bomb, Stone Edge. And it's just going to be kind of a bait game with your opponents on what they are running. Tyranitar will now learn the charge attack Brutal Swing. I actually didn't hear about this one. That's interesting. Definitely a cheaper move for it to get. Could give it some more play in the Master League. Credilly learning Rock Slide. I was looking in Caleb Pang's stream, and he didn't seem like this was too big of a deal. I think it's actually a pretty big deal for Credilly. I think it's going to it's going to be much spammier now. Before, it was like 4 Bullet Seeds for Grass Knot, 5 for Stone Edge, and I think it becomes 4 the next time for Stone Edge, something like that. It is 4-3-3 for Rock Slide, so you're going to spam off these Rock Slides really quickly, and it suddenly beats a lot of like top meta Pokemon. Armaldo learning Liquidation. I'm not really sold on Armaldo. I don't think it's very good. Excuse me, sorry. Floatzel, Liquidation, that's fine. Let's go. Drifblim, a personal favorite of mine, will now learn the charge attack Mystical Fire. I don't know how good this will be in the Open Great League, but 2 big matchups it now picks up are Galarian Stunfisk and Registeel, and we will get into that later. Snover, Leafage, Abomasnow, Leafage. I think Powder Snow is still going to be better for Abomasnow personally. Probopass learning Zap Cannon, like, okay. Gives it access to a nuke move, but like, I don't see Probo overtaking the other steel types in G-Fisk and Reggie. I think they're just better. Like, you don't have a whole lot to gain with running Probo over Registeel, in my opinion. Heatran will now learn the charge attack Earth Power. Cool for Master League, I guess. Samurott Liquidation doesn't really make sense. I'm not sure why, because like Hydro Cannon is just better. So that one kind of confused me. Charge attack Seed Bomb for Whimsicott. Like, they nerf Seed Bomb and they give it to Whimsicott. Okay, like Grass Knot's only 5 more energy, so if you run Whimsicott, I would probably lean towards still running the same standard moveset of Grass Knot Moonblast. Caracosta learning Liquidation, that's kind of cool. Caracosta you don't see too much. This one is pretty significant. Emolga learning acrobatics. An upgrade from aerial ace to acrobatics is, I don't know, man. It's like an upgrade from McDonald's to like a 5-star Japanese steakhouse. Yeah. Acrobatics so much better than aerial ace. This is going to allow Emolga to win a lot more matchups than it won previously. Electros, Liquidation, Litwick. I didn't think about this much, and Caleb Pang had a good thought where he said this is probably strictly for Bronzor in the Little Cup, because Bronzor is so overpowered in the Little Cup. They felt like they needed to buff something that beats it. So giving Mystical Fire to Bronzor to help defeat Bronzor is kind of funny. Beartic, Liquidation, Rowlet, Leafage, some more Leafage. Prima, Disarming Voice, Leafage. Golisopod learning Liquidation will definitely help it, give it access to a better charge move than it currently has. Normally running, what is it, X's or Aerial Ace? I literally just asked this on a recent video. And then Ursaluna learning Ice Punch is pretty cool. Gives it more play in the Master League for things like Dragonite and other dragons, of course. So, there you have it. We ran through the updates, and now, part 2, we're going to go into PVpoke. If you're not familiar with PVpoke, you just type it in. And he just updated it so you can preview the next season updates, which is going to be starting in literally like an hour and a half from when I'm recording this. So I'm going to try and get this video up quickly for y'all, and then I'm going to go live a little bit after the new season starts, and we're going to get some battles in, ladies and gentlemen. So let's take a look at the rankings for the new season. So we went over all those updates. How does that affect things? Well, you see the top 5, and they still look pretty familiar. Reggie, Geefus, Scrafty, Medi, Swampert. But what you don't see, even if we go down to the top 10, is Noctowl. And Noctowl still at number 12. Okay, so still pretty dang strong. But when you buff things like Walrein, now up to number 20 in the shadow form, when you buff things like Dugong up to 39, and when you nerf things like Trev, Noctowl is going to drop in the rankings. Let's see, what was it last season? How far did he drop? He's at 6, and now he's at 12. So Noctowl lost a little bit of momentum here, and they found a nice way to nerf it without nerfing it, if you know what I mean. Like they buffed things that beat Noctowl. They nerfed something that Noctowl is a great target for, and in doing so, even though Noctowl didn't see any changes in its moves particularly, it is a little bit lower ranked in the meta. But you see a lot of the same culprits here in the top 10. Lantern, I think, and Medicham are great beneficiaries from the Trevenant nerf. Once again, Trevenant down to 74. What was Trayvon, as I like to call him? He goes from 7 to 74. That is probably one of the most significant falls for a Pokemon with this move update. Let's just go down, and see something significant is Shadow Quagsire at number 11. Now, this is insane. Going from, let's see, I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to say 178. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. But this is last season, Shadow Quagsire, 159. And now it's at number 11. And I think this might be a little bit of a sim hero. What do I mean by that, Rise? What do you mean a sim hero? Some Pokemon in the PVpoke simulations might appear a little bit better than they are, because usually the simulation is going to have them baiting a cheaper move and landing the more hard-hitting move. So, for example, it has Shadow Quagsire beating Noctowl, but if we take a look at that matchup a little bit more closely, let's see if it truly beats Noctowl. So, the way this plays out, okay, I guess it does have it going straight Stone Edge, so that's pretty nice. and then landing a Mud Bomb at the end. So, like, yeah, it beats Noctowl, but that's like you're forced to throw your Mud Bomb here right before the third Sky attack. So you win this matchup in the ones, but you come out with 8 health. So you basically just give your opponent a farm down. And then if you look down here at the matchup details, you lose the 0s and the 2s. So, like, in the Sims, right, it's got Quagsire as beating Noctowl, but it's really not the best matchup because you lose the 0 scenario, you lose the 2 shield scenario, you only win the 1 shield scenario. And what do these mean for people that might be newer to PvP or just not quite as technically like into it? The 0 shield scenario is simply when 0 shields are committed on both sides. The 1 shield is when 1 shield is committed on both sides. The 2s is when 2 shields are committed on both sides. So, Quag. I would say probably, in my opinion, a little bit... I do that too much. There were too many adjectives in, like, secondary words there. What did I say? I would say probably a little bit, in my opinion. Why do I need to say that? I could just say, in my opinion, and be done from there. In my opinion, Quagsire could be a sim hero. But I think it's still definitely an upgrade with Mud Bomb. That spamminess is going to be really interesting. Kind of overtakes Whiscash. Oh, but Whiscash with that Mud Bomb buff hops up to number 14. Where was Cash Daddy before? Whiscash Money, as I like to call him, was 31. Gets a nice little buff up to number 14. And the Mud Boys have returned. You know what's crazy jumping out to me? We've gone through like the top 30 and I haven't seen a certain thing. What haven't I seen? Top 35, haven't seen a certain thing. It took us to number 40 to see a grass type Pokemon. So with the buff of Ice and the nerf of Trevenant, which typically beats most of the other grass types, we have seen a fall of grass-type Pokemon. Lurantis is the highest ranked grass type, and then you start seeing more of them appear. Abomasnow, Meganium, Chestnut, Credilli. So, it's going to be interesting. Like, are Mud Boys going to take over? And then, even though grass is, like, not necessarily ranked as high, is grass going to be, like, anti-meta and then take over? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to start the season, especially because I, as well as probably 60 other people or more, are competing in the Milwaukee Regional this weekend, and it's a brand new meta. Not a whole lot of time to prep, not a whole lot of time to practice. So I've got a feeling we're going to see a lot of unique teams out here, and it'll be really interesting, man. We keep going. I think Cresselia definitely benefits from this update with Trev going away, and I think we're still going to see a lot of Lantern Medi. So, Cresselia, I think, is still going to shine. Shadow A-Slash, we see up to number 29. Where was A-Slash last season? 56. So, pretty high jump for Mr. Slash. Regirock's always ranked super high, but you don't see him too often. Machamp at 36. It was Shadow Machamp ranked higher? Yeah. Oh, wow. 13. And yet you still don't see him too often. Yeah, we keep going down. We keep going down. And then one thing I wanted to look at is, like, some of the new moves. So, like, liquidation users. And this is a thing you can do if you didn't know in PvPoke. You can do @ and then type in a move, and it'll come up with Pokemon that have access to that move. So, like, liquidation users, not a huge deal, at least for the Great League. But we do see Dugong at number 39. And in terms of leafage, yeah, kind of the same sort of thing. Like, we type in leafage, and the top 3 Pokemon that have access to it aren't even recommended to use it. So leafage, not really a huge deal. But yeah, man, that's the gist of the rankings. And what I want to do now is just briefly go over Ultra League, if we see any noticeable differences, and then Master League, and then maybe look at some Great League potential teams to build with some of these new Pokemon. So, Reggie, everything looks pretty much the same here. Except Walrein up to number 13. Where was Walrein? I would think Walrein was still pretty high in Ultra League, but how much has Walrein jumped? So Walrein jumps from 26 to 13. And where was Trev? Trev was number 10 for now this season. Trayvon, number 35. So that's probably the major change we're going to see. This update seemed more geared towards Great League, but definitely some other ripple effects as well. Yeah, I don't see off the top of my head like too many big changes here. Maybe I missed something, but I think Great League's going to be the one that's mainly affected. And then Master League, Lugia at number 1. I think Lugia overtook Groudon because is Ursaluna now ranked higher? Ursaluna is up to number 31. I would have to presume that's higher than before. It actually loses to Groudon, though. That's kind of embarrassing. It has access to a super effective Ice Punch, and it still loses to Groudon. But look at this. Now it beats Garchomp. It beats Zacian. And one thing that you guys can do that I'll show you real quickly that I like to do a lot is the Matrix Battle feature on PVpoke. And if you look at Ursaluna with the standard moveset compared to Ursaluna from last season, which usually ran what? Either Fire Punch or Thunder Punch. I don't know what was more common. Let's go with Thunder Punch for like Kyogre, Gyarados. I don't know. If Fire Punch is more common, excuse me, sue me. Maybe it is Fire Punch for like Steel types. So you can just sort the Master League meta over here on the right side and then battle. And it'll show you this is now updated. It used to just be like red or blue for loss or win. Now like this shade of red is a soft loss. This big X with red is a hard loss. And the same thing with the circles. These are all soft wins. Any hard wins? Oh, wow. No hard wins. So the record not super impressive for Ursaluna here. 14, 19, and 1. But still an upgrade from the other Ursaluna. 13, 20, and 1. So the Fire Punch one somehow flips Ho-Oh. How does that work? That doesn't make sense to me. And then, so sometimes you have to take the Sims with a grain of salt. But you see this one doesn't win Garchomp or Landorus. So the Ice Punch is going to help you flip the Garchomp and the Landorus matchups. Maybe if we look at like the Zero Shield scenario. Look, now it picks up 3 matchups. So like Landorus, Togekiss, and opposing Ursaluna. 2 Shield real briefly. Fire Punch. It says it picks up Ho-Oh. I don't really get that. Also picks up Excadrill. That makes sense. 2 Shield scenario. Ice Punch will help you pick up Garchomp, Groudon, Gyarados, Ursaluna, Yveltal, and Zekrom. So there you have it. And now, what we can do to wrap up this video, as we're getting long on time, is just go over a few potential teams with some of the new Pokemon. So if I'll duplicate this tab and go into Team Builder, as we start off the new season, we'll do Open Great League. And we can, if we want to, let's say I want to incorporate Dugong, because I really like Dugong, and he now has access to Drill Run. Also, if I, like, often call Pokemon I'm sorry, I do that. I know they can be male or female. But I want to plug in Dugong, and I'm thinking like, what would make a good pair with Dugong? So what's Dugong weak to? Dugong's kind of weak to like Medicham. So maybe I want to pair Dugong with like Sableye. And then I have these 2 Pokemon like, I don't know what pairs well with Dugong and Sableye. So I'm going to simulate, and it's going to give me a team rating, and I have an F in coverage. That's not good. Oh, you guys probably couldn't have seen that. F in coverage. And it's going to tell me what I'm weak to. Oh, I'm weak to Reggie, Bastiodon, Licky. You know what seems good with these is a fighter. So what if I go Metacham? I'm kind of weak to A9 here, but if I go Metacham with these two guys, I'm up to a C in terms of coverage. And there's a handful of things that it says gives me trouble. So these are a lot of Fairy-type Pokemon and Araquanid. Like, I don't want to be this weak to Fairy-type Pokemon, so, what could I do? What are some potential alternatives? Ooh, a Steel-type. That's interesting. Okay. So maybe I go with Registeel instead of Sableye. Simulate. And look, we're up to a B in coverage and A in bulk. And Deoxys is our biggest weakness. Interesting. So you can kind of just experiment and play around, and you don't have to live and die by the simulations, right? Because you might find a team that PVpoke says doesn't have the best coverage, but it might work for you. So it's just like a good tool to use to make sure, like, oh crap, I am triple weak to Victini. Like, you're probably not going to see too many Victinis. I'm triple weak to Alolan Raichu. Probably not going to see too many Alolan Raichu. Now, what if we want to play with Shadow, Alolan Sandslash? If you want to make it really easy on yourself, type it in Shadow. That's not what you do. If I want to build a team around Sandslash, one really easy thing you could even do is just generate with one Pokemon. You're going to get an F in coverage. That's fine. And then you look at what it recommends. So it recommends Medi or Deoxys. Let's just give it the top recommendation of Medi. Simulate again. Let's see what it top recommends us again. So we're up to a C in coverage. Deoxys is the top threat. And how about Pidgeot? Pidgeot, one of the top things it recommends to pair with those two. And look, we're up to a B in coverage with just those three Pokemon. It's tough to get an A coverage with only three Pokemon. And look at this. The only Pokemon that on paper beats all three is Luxray. And you're really not going to see too many Luxray. Maybe you do. Maybe Jeremy in the chat is like, Rise, I see Luxray like 7 out of every 10 battles. It's everywhere. Well, personally, Jeremy, I don't see too many Luxray, so I think we're going to have to agree to disagree there. But that's basically a simple tutorial of building teams. Or if you just kind of want to play around, sometimes I just build a team in my head. So what's a third Pokemon that received an update that we want to test out? Shadow Quagsire. Great one. So I have a rank 1 Shadow Quag that I want to use. And I'm like, okay, I'm weak to grass. That's my only real weakness. So maybe I want to pair this with a flyer. I want to pair it with my Noctowl. And maybe I go like ABB. So like I lead the Quag, and then I've got 2 flyers in back. I could even go like Charizard in the back, Shadow. Let's rate that, see how it looks. C coverage, not the best, but not terrible. And it gets me my top weaknesses. I'm like, Altaria is my top weakness, but like, if I look at Altaria, right, I've got the Stone Edge, I've got a neutral matchup in Noctowl, I've got a fairly neutral matchup in Charizard. It's like, I'm not too concerned about that. Umbreon, same thing. All these Pokemon are neutral. Credilli, maybe a little bit more concerning, because Credilli kind of core breaks the whole team. So I'm like, ooh, okay. I am really soft to Credilli. But maybe I'm either willing to take that one major weakness, or if I'm not, like, let's see, what could I do to help shore up Credilli? Maybe instead of Charizard, I go with something else that can beat Credilli, and we'll go with Toxicroak. And I go Toxicroak instead of Charizard, and we pick up a few more weaknesses like to Skarmory and Pidgeot, but now we no longer have that Credilli weakness. So it's going to be tough in general, right, to build a team that covers absolutely everything, but do your best to have as much coverage as possible, and also maybe have some strategy behind your team. If you see a certain lead, you can swap to lure something out and then try and sweep with the back Pokemon. So overall, I'm just really excited for these updates. It's going to make the start of the season kind of hectic, but kind of fun. And who knows what's going to happen at the Milwaukee region this weekend. There's also 2 more events going on in Santiago, Chile, and also Torino, Italy. I don't know how to say it in a good accent, so I'll just say it like an American, Torino, Italy. Yeah, that pretty much covers it, guys. Let me know if you enjoyed this type of video. It did drag on a little longer than I would have liked, but a lot of updates to cover, and I hope you guys enjoyed it even just a little bit. All that said, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to drop a like. Let me know in the comments what you're going to be running in the new season or what you want to run. And I hope to see a lot of you on stream in just a few hours. So all that said, thank you once again, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.